Hello and welcome to a new video. I thought I would do my January one-take wrap-up. If you have not been to my channel before for the last couple of years, when I do a wrap-up of what I read in the month or in a couple of months, I just do what I call a one-take wrap-up because I hate editing videos. So let's go ahead and get into the 8 books that I read in January. First off, got a little sweet treat too. By sweet treat I do just mean my normal coffee, but and excuse my voice, I don't know what's going on, I'm losing my voice, sorry about it. So first I read Unloved by Peyton Corinne. I really enjoyed this one. It is a college hockey romance. I definitely enjoyed this one even more than the first one. The first one is called Unsteady. I liked Unsteady a lot. Really good like anxiety and panic attack representation in the first one. I just didn't like the female main character as much in the first one. I still really liked her. But yeah, it was a really heavy story. This second one was a little less heavy. It was still really good, and there was still a lot that the characters had to unpack. These are definitely angsty stories with lots of exploration of mental health and grief. This one dealt a lot with grief, so was it any less heavy? Not really. But I really liked the female main character. I thought she was a really incredible character, and getting to see her grow as a person and realize like her worth and be able to stand up to her abuser was just really incredible to read. And I really liked the male main character too. He had a lot to face about his past and everything, so definitely a big fan of this one, and was a really good first read of the year. Next, I finished up the Game Changer series by Rachel Reed, which everybody is talking about right now, rightfully so, because it is amazing. I finished by reading Role Model and The Long Game. Those are books 5 and 6. Role Model I really enjoyed. I don't remember the character names, I'm sorry. I think it's Harris and somebody else, Troy, I think, although I don't know. But I really like this one. So we've got a hockey player with kind of a bad reputation, and he's traded to this new team, and he's having to face who he's been and like all of his repressed feelings, and also the betrayal of a friend. He's finding out who his friend really was and what a bad person that person is. And he's facing how he really feels and like what his orientation is, and he meets the social media manager, and they just really grow to love each other. Ilya is a big character in this one, which I really enjoyed getting to see Ilya from the outside and see kind of how he like appears to other people in the team. The puppy wants to be part of it too, okay? He did not help me read any. Well, no, he did help me read some of these books because I go on audiobook walks. So yeah, really like this. The plane scene, I'm gonna leave it at that. That features in this book as well as in The Long Game. Oh my god, literally crazy. So next I read The Long Game, and I am such a big fan. Come on, come here. What are you doing? Have you guys ever had a puppy? It's crazy. He's crazy. The Long Game is like one of the best books I've ever read, and it's gonna be one of my best books of the year, I can tell you that, which is kind of crazy to have one of my best books of the year in January, but it genuinely is that amazing. So, such a big fan of that book. This is Shane and Ilya's second book. It is their sequel, and their third book will come out later in the year. I have no words about how amazing this book is. The discussion of mental health, of their relationship, how open they're able to talk through things. It takes time, but it's just so fantastic. Very big fan. Next, I read The Mark of Athena and the House of Hades. They were my audiobooks for my audiobook walks. Some editing does have to happen when you've got a puppy in the room. Okay, I read The Mark of Athena and the House of Hades. Obviously I love them. These are rereads, but it's been a long time since I have read the Heroes of Olympus series, and I am loving it. Mark of Athena obviously has the biggest cliffhanger, I swear to God, ever written. And it was just as painful to read this time. I really like Mark of Athena for it being the time that now all 7 characters come together. And then obviously everything that happens, trying to save Nico and everything. And then House of Hades is just like, House of Hades is probably Rick Riordan's best book, or at least one of them, because even though at this point now characters are split up, everyone shines for who they are in this book. We've got Leo, he grows so much. The scenes with Calypso on the island are fantastic and just so quintessential for his character and learning who he is. Himself learning who he is, and then Percy and Annabeth working together in Tartarus. I have no words. And then, but also everybody else too. We start to get glimpses into Reina's story, and Nico. Oh my god. Is it in Blood of Olympus or is it in House of Hades? I've been reading them all back to back. I'm not entirely sure, but wherever the Jason, Nico, and Cupid scene happens, I don't remember if it's in House of Hades or in, I think it's in House of Hades, but don't quote me. That scene is maybe Rick Riordan's best scene ever. But yeah, everything that happens, Leo comes, I meant to say Piper. Piper comes into her own too. The more she like finds power, I think this is actually a Blood of Olympus scene, but she talks about how sometimes you have to fight with your heart instead of with your mind. She's really incredible. And then Hazel and Frank too. So yeah, those have been incredible rereads. Next, I read The Bromance Book Club, which is by Lyssa K. Adams. This was actually also a reread, but honestly it felt like I was reading it for the first time. I didn't remember any of it. I really enjoyed it. I do think some of the arguments at the end were a little forced. Like, it didn't feel like something that someone would genuinely react like. I just thought that, like, I don't know, the female main character specifically, like the way she reacted to some of the stuff in the end, I was like, okay, maybe let's relax. So that was a little bit of a letdown in the end, but overall I really like the characters and I like the setup of the story very much. And I'm really looking forward to future books in this series. I have the second one and I'd like to read that. I think too that this book like isn't necessarily set up for me. Like, it's not something that it's not a lot of tropes that I love, but I really wanted to read the series in order. I'm just not a big second chance romance fan. Like, it's not my favorite trope. But that being said, I still really enjoyed it. I think I gave it a 4 out of 5 stars. I haven't been saying everything else I've said so far has been 5. So I did really enjoy it though. And then next I read A Sure Thing by Joanna Lull, which is a new to me author. This is a historical romance, which was very fun to read. I don't remember the exact, I think it's Victorian. I want to say late 1800s in England, but like countryside, seaside England. And I really liked it. It was a pretty slow burn, but I really liked the story. I liked the couple a lot, and I liked their chemistry and their banter and how their story unfolded. There were just some like tiny things that I was like, I don't know about this. My biggest gripe, which it has nothing to do with the actual storytelling or anything, my issue was that, so a bet like forms in the beginning of the book that the male main character says, and I don't remember anyone's names, he bets that the heroine will be able to make this cycling ride across the island, even though she's a woman, and against this other cycling guy who's like kind of the antagonist but not really. And she agrees to the bet. She's like, oh, if I do this for you, then you will do my paintings for her botany book or whatever lecture. I love a blue stocking heroine. I liked that she was like doing sciencey, collecting samples, all sorts of stuff. That was fun. My issue with this concept was, how does a random woman with no cycling experience agree to cycle across the entire island over the course of a week. These are 8-hour days cycling dozens of miles across rough terrain for a week straight. And she has no experience, no athletic experience at all. Sure, she's been traveling the world collecting plant samples and like that sort of stuff, but there's a difference between leisurely walking around and collecting plant samples and cycling all day on Victorian bicycles. And they have, it's like the time, the historical time of when it's going from like the big wheeled bicycles to like normal modern bicycles, and they're riding modern bicycles. But I'm sorry, I call BS. A random woman who has no athletic experience could not cycle that much. And she never complains. She never complains about being sore, about her body hurting. I'm like, how are you not in the hospital? Like, I have treated many patients who go to a cycle class for the first time and end up with rhabdomyolysis because they have no prior cycling experience, and then they like throw themselves into something that's so difficult. And I realized, I was like, well, maybe my perspective is just a little bit skewed because like, I know I couldn't do that. I have chronic pain and I wouldn't be able to do that. I think even if I was Joe Schmo off the street and didn't have any issues, I just don't believe that that's possible. A random person with no experience cannot just ride for a week straight dozens and dozens and dozens of miles. Hundreds of miles probably. I don't know how long the trip was. Anyway, that's my rant about bicycles over. I really enjoyed the book. And what was the most interesting aspect is it is a queer romance in historical, which is not something as often written, which I think it should be. It was a really interesting look into how that would have existed in the time. So the main character is trans, and they are trying to escape some of their past lives. There is some like dead naming and mentioning of their previous life, if you will, their life in London with their family and everything, and he chose to leave that world and become who he really is. And I thought it was really, really beautifully written and beautifully explained, and I really liked the variety of characters, like other characters' reactions. Some of them, I don't want to say reacted badly, but had an appropriate reaction given the context of the time. And it wasn't that they reacted badly and thought down on the character. They just took time to like understand and accept, and it just took time. So I really liked, whereas some characters, you know, took it and was like, okay, and like accepted it and understood it a lot faster. And I liked that dynamic of different reactions. So overall, really, really enjoyed it. Definitely will pick up some other books by this author. And then lastly, I read one of my favorite authors. I read The Gilded Heiress by Joanna Shupe. If you don't know, she is my #1 historical romance author. If you are looking to get into historical romance, go read Joanna Shupe. I think Notorious Vow is my favorite, but I also love all the Gilded Age New York ones. So this one is a Gilded Age New York, but it takes place in Boston and in New York. This follows a character who was left at an orphanage when she was a young baby, and so she doesn't know anything about her past. It is a Anastasia retelling, in that she is now grown up, doesn't know who she is or where she came from, and she is actually looking to make it on Broadway. She wants to be a singer, and our hero is a character who needs to take care of his family, pretty down on his luck. His father has passed away, was not able to provide, and so he does what he can to provide for his family, his mom and his sisters, which includes being a con man. So he comes up with this scheme that he is going to convince this rich family in New York that this is their long lost heiress, and collect the reward money. And of course, in the process, they fall in love. This was a really, really fun one. I enjoyed it. There are no cons to this. It's all pros. It was an amazing story, and I will always, always love a Joanna Shupe book. So that is everything I read in January. I hope you enjoyed. I am looking forward to reading a lot more books in the next month and finding some more that I love. So I will see you guys next time. Like, share, subscribe, all that fun stuff. Bye!